Right, back again with another episode of Undiscovered Creatives, where we unravel raw talent and hidden artists in Sarawak. Now, on today's episode, we have one extremely talented artist. Not only talented, but she's also unique, as instead of painting or drawing with a pen, she draws with fire. Let's welcome Sonia Luhong. Right, thank you for coming to the show. I appreciate your time here. So, how you've been?
I've been good, thank you.
So, MCO's okay?
Yes, coping with it, but yeah, I'm alive and that's
Thank
great.
God. All right, can you tell us a little bit more about drawing with fire?
Sure. So this art form is called pyrography, and it's actually a combination of two Greek words, pyro and graphy, which means to write with fire.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens is that you use an application, usually a heated piece of metal, and you use that to burn a wooden surface, or technically any surface that can be burned. Yeah, and that's how you get burnt art, basically.
Oh, okay. Even with the shadowing and everything, you still
Shading,
with, like-
everything, yes,
Wow.
that's
Okay.
right.
Right. Sorry. Shading. I'm not familiar with the term, but okay. How did you start this pyrography, and when did you get into it?
It's interesting that you asked that because it's actually from a random Google search. I don't know how I came across it, but I came across images of wood-burned or pyrographed art, right, on Google. And I thought, that's interesting because it looks very much like they used pen or a paintbrush, but it looks burnt onto wood. Then I saw that they used a tool that looks very similar to the soldering iron. Yeah, and I thought, okay, you know what? My dad has a soldering iron in his tool shed. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna borrow the soldering iron, chiri, and then I used that to
Okay.
do my first pyro. And that was all the way back in 2012. So I would say I've been doing it for 8 years now.
8 years now. Okay, but I do want to know, did you break the soldering pen, or was it still?
Thank God I didn't break it. Yeah, so actually pyrography is a very easy art form to take on. As long as you can draw like a stick figure, you can practically do pyrography. But you really just need a lot of hand and wrist control. And the general concept is the longer the soldering or pyrography pen touches the wood, the deeper and darker the burn, because the longer contact it has
Right.
with heat. Yeah.
So you guys actually also have like a specially designed pen just to draw.
That's right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but the concept of it is very similar to a soldering iron. It's just that a pyrography pen, it has interchangeable nibs, so different tips that you can choose from. And you can also, the more expensive ones, you can also actually change the temperature. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So that's a highly advanced kind of.
Yeah, so you have more control over the degree of burn that you do on the wood. Yeah.
Right. So what inspired you to start creating art within this form or method?
So honestly, I've been into art since I can remember. I think the moment I could pick up a crayon or a pen to draw, I would scribble on the walls of my house. So I would say art was like second nature to me, and I think for me it was mostly because it seems like a niche art form.
It
In
definitely
Sarawak,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
and in Sarawak, I don't know anyone who is actively doing pyrography as an art form, right? I do know a few other pyrography artists in Malaysia, and even so, the numbers are few. So I thought, okay, you know what? I'm gonna take upon this art form, and I'm gonna share it. I'm gonna display it. So I think so far the reception has been very positive. People have been curious, and I managed to do a few workshops actually to teach. And I'm happy to see a few of my friends actually taking up upon this pyrography artwork. But I hope to see more of them doing it, and not just me doing it. Yeah.
Because based on your artworks and just the artwork itself, I've already felt like it's gonna be really difficult for someone to actually practice this kind of art and to hone or harness their art. How long did it actually took you to feel comfortable in creating art with this pyrography technique?
Okay, so actually, honestly, it's just really the control of your hand and the fact that you don't hold it close to the tip like you usually do with a pencil or a pen. You have to hold it a bit higher because of the length
heat,
of the, yes, you know, the heat. So, but it wasn't a huge learning curve for me. I think within a day or two, I managed to kind of get the feel of it. And when I did my workshops, like I've taught people from like the ages of 10 up until in their 40s, and all of them catch it. So it's not a huge learning curve at all. It's really just control.
Oh, okay. One more thing that I do need to ask you. Do you know like a little bit, you know, maybe of how the history of pyrography actually started?
Yeah, so pyrography, of course, definitely started with what at the moment man discovered fire. And I think with the Iron Age, you know, discovery of iron or metals, and that enabled man to use these elements to create art. And you can find these art forms also in China, Japan, and Korea. And like I mentioned earlier, they use iron rods and they would heat it up open over a coal. And then once it's hot enough, then they'll use that to burn onto wood. But so far in this region, it doesn't seem to be it doesn't seem to be a main art form. It's a lot of weaving or beading, right, or carving, but not so much pyrography.
All right, thank you so much, Sonia, for the input. It's really interesting to know that pyrography has been around for quite some time, since the beginning of Hue and Dawn, right? We will take a quick commercial break, and we will see you guys in a bit. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Undiscovered Creatives, where we unravel raw talent and hidden artists. And today's episode, we are with Sonia Luhong. So, Sonia, can you tell me a little bit, have you done any art exhibition before?
Yes, I have done art exhibitions in KL as well as in Kuching.
So I'd like to know, how are people's reaction when they see your art? Because it's quite different, it's quite unique.
Yes. So it's not always apparent in the first impression that it's pyrography. It's when they look closer and then they realize, oh, it's actually burned onto wood. And that always encourages them to want to touch and feel the artwork.
Yeah, because like there's different textures and everything,
That's right.
Right, okay. Do you enjoy the reaction that people give out when they find out that it's actually not a pen or a pencil, but instead it's drawn with fire?
Definitely, I get a kick out of it.
Okay, so what is the best comment that you've ever gotten from anybody who actually gets to see your art hands-on?
It's not, for me, it's not so much the fact that they discovered it's pyrography, but it's more their reaction towards my subject matter. So a lot of my initial pyrography works touched on endangered animals of Borneo, especially the Bornean leopard. So they look at it and they think it's an animal from outside of Sarawak or Borneo. And when I tell them we can actually find this animal in Sarawak, they become very surprised. And that to me shows a very important need for awareness on our endangered animals.
Because to be honest, that is the drawing that you mentioned, right?
Yes,
I
that's
was
right.
actually surprised that that is an animal that's available in Malaysia, but it's endangered. So yeah, it is important for us to raise awareness on that kind of matter. But right now, I'm going to tell you a little bit of this little segment that we have on the show. It's called Take It to the Streets. Okay, so basically this segment is where we have our co-host, Eric. He's going to be going to the street, and he's going to be asking the public if they know a thing or two about pyrography. Okay, so Eric, take it to the streets.
Thank you so much, Terry. Welcome back to another episode of Take It to the Streets with me, your co-host Eric. And on this lovely night, we are at Wayne Cafe. Definitely, we'll be asking people about pyrography, and we'll see what they have to say. Alright, so check it out after this. Okay, itu bersama dengan kami Kak Sikin. Kak Sikin, apa khabar Kak?
Baik, Alhamdulillah.
Okay, Alhamdulillah. So Kak Sikin, I got a few questions for you. Kita tahu si apa pyrography?
Si tahu.
Well, basically pyrography itu hanya melukis menggunakan api. Coba kita teka apa alat yang sedap pakai untuk pyrography tu.
Api lah kot.
Api, right?
Biasa pyrography itu menggunakan api dan lilin dan kain.
Api ya, dengan minyak.
Okay, so basically dia menggunakan alat yang ada pemanas di ujung and disediakan lukis atas kayu ataupun medium lain. Okay, so dengan adanya pyrography tu, adakah kita rasa dunia art tu makin mengembang?
Rasanya berkembang lah sebab sebelum tu kan menggunakan berus watercolor biasa je kan. Air api belum lah. So yang menandakannya berkembang lah.
Biasa nang di itu nak makin mengembang lah.
Ya,
Nak berkembang lah dunia art tu. Seni nak makin berkembang maju lah seni tu.
Rasanya lah. Sebab kebanyakannya pun kami dah nanggar dekat world pun dah ramai orang nak melukis.
Dan mural apa semua,
Yes,
right?
betul. Cuma yang tu lah kami belum pernah dengar.
So banyak lagi benda yang kita belum discover nak. So mun diberi peluang, kita ingin sih mencoba benda art baru.
Oh?
Definitely ya.
Mun diberi peluang ingin juga coba lah.
Ingin juga buat family apa semua coba.
Beli semua coba.
Ni tahu hobi baru nak.
Kalau ni tahu minat tu kesian.
Yes, definitely betul.
Boleh juga coba kali. Mau ada peluang lah boleh coba.
Definitely. Okay, thank you so much Kak Skin. Thank you so much. That'll be all from me, your co-host Eric, today here at Take It to the Streets at Wayne Cafe. Now turning it back to Terry to the studio.
All right, thank you so much, Eric, for taking it to the streets. So basically, the people out there, they don't really know the existence of pyrography, but they say they're interested to try it if given the chance. So Sonia, what do you think about people's reaction to pyrography?
I was honestly very pleasantly surprised, but at the same time delighted to know that they are keen on trying pyrography. Yeah.
Okay, so do you think if they were to be given the chance to try it out, maybe to be taught, do you think the art community in Sarawak can grow? I mean, especially in the pyrography, since there's very little people who actually practices it.
Oh, definitely. But I think it requires people to be more passionate about it. And I think on our hand as well as artists or art facilitators, we need to continue teaching this art for it to grow.
Okay, so do you have a community or a group that you work with to create art?
Yes, I do. And in fact, I am part of several art communities in Kuching, especially one of them is 9 Lives. And that, in fact, is the very first art group I joined in the art scene here.
So how big is this 9 Lives group?
We started off with 9 members. And now I think we're almost hitting 20, if not
20
already,
members?
Almost, I think, yeah. So it's grown a lot since.
So how do you guys actually came up with the name 9 Lives?
9 Lives came about because it's a tribute to our city, Kuching, which in Malay means cat, and therefore 9 lives. So it's pretty straightforward. It's not really not really too imaginative or abstract. And
So basically, most of the members of 9 Lives, they consist of people that are from Kuching.
That's right. Well, actually, not just from Kuching. We also had members from Miri, from Muka, and other parts, Bintulu as well, I believe.
So all over Sarawak.
Yes, all over
Wow,
Sarawak.
that's amazing. Okay, I do need to know, do all 20 of you do pyrography, or do you guys have, each of you guys have different styles and art that you guys practices?
I'm the only pyrography artist in 9 Lives, but we all consist of different disciplines or different genres of visual arts. Yeah.
So can you share a bit the kind of art that the other member creates, other than drawings and the typical paintings?
Definitely. Other than paintings, we also have one member who does masks and does art installations in 3D. And we also have members who do their own crafts and basically other forms of visual art. And I find it very interesting, all this whole combination.
So have you guys ever came together to create a big piece of art, maybe on a big canvas or a wall, together, maybe as a tribute to Kuching, because 9 Lives
Yes.
is a tribute to Kuching.
Yes.
So have you guys ever done that together as a team?
In fact, yes. And we have 3 huge murals in downtown Kuching. So if you go around Carpenter Street, Main Bazaar, you can find our 3 big murals. And those were actually under a nationwide street art project. So we were actually representing Sarawak when we did that. So all our 3 huge murals were tribute to Kuching and Sarawak as a whole.
Wow, that's amazing. So basically, people can actually just go to Carpenter Street to see more.
Yes,
this
Carpenter
art.
Street, Main Bazaar. Yeah.
Okay. So other than murals and all this, I need to know, how do you guys get your inspiration, or better, where do you get your inspiration from when you guys create art?
I would like to say that our sources of inspiration are all different, but I think a lot of us pull inspiration from our own home state, Sarawak. We're very proud Sarawakians, and we are very proud of our roots and our culture. So I think we do pull a lot from that.
So now that you say that you guys are inspired by things that can be found in our city, what is the most prominent thing that you get inspired from? Out of all the options that you can find, like the hornbill bird, maybe the our iconic cats. What else do you think could be the most prominent thing that you could be inspired from?
For me personally?
Yeah.
Personally, I'm very inspired by our own natural heritage, honestly, because like what you mentioned, right? Hornbill is widely portrayed, orangutan, but I think there are many other species that we have that are actually unique to Borneo as well.
But people are not really familiar with them as what you have drawn here, right?
Yes, the Bornean collared leopard.
Yeah, it's really great that you created that in trying to raise awareness on the endangered species. All right, thank you so much, Sonia. So we will be back after this short commercial break, so make sure you guys stay tuned, and we will see you guys in a bit. Right, welcome back to the show with me, Terry, your host, and Sonia Luhong, our guest today. So, Sonia, I need to ask you, with drawing fire and everything, should people take any precaution steps before they actually try to do pyrography?
Definitely. First of all, your desk or your workstation has to be clear of anything else, and you only want to burn wood or your canvas, nothing else. So, and if you're using a torch, right, so you're gonna play with open flame, and you need to stand by like a fire extinguisher in case anything happens.
So fire extinguisher is a must when
Yes,
you try to go with pyrography. Okay, has anybody given any negative comments when they see your work?
So far, no. So I'm waiting for them to come, but yeah, so far it's been positive.
Right, that's great. So within any of those comments, have you ever gotten any offer for people to actually purchase your art?
I have, and in fact, most of my artworks that are not shown yet, they've all been sold off already. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So how many actually have you sold off your art?
To be honest, I've kind of like lost count, but I think
Wow,
it should be
right.
below 15.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. So it's really amazing to know that, a local artist who practices pyrography is able to sell her art. Okay, that's just something else. But anyways, do you have any advice for anybody who is interested in art, be it pyrography, drawing, painting, or whatever art form it is? Do you have any advice for them? If they're still in high school, or maybe they're just wanting to start a hobby, and art is one of that. Do you have any advice?
So when going into art, I think it's important, as if any other hobby really, not just art, you have passion for it and that you continue with it. Don't let anyone put you down, because art is really, a very important part of being human. It helps us express, it helps us show, other facets of our thoughts and all of that. So just keep going, really.
So basically what you're trying to say is, if anybody is interested in doing art, if they're just passionate about it, they should just go for it.
Go for it, definitely.
Okay, so where do you think they should start if they were to actually pursue pyrography?
For a start, you can, if you need a teacher to teach you, you can come to me. I have my social media. But really, you can just Google, and there are lots of instructions on how to do pyrography. And as I mentioned earlier, it's really not a huge learning curve. As long as you can draw a stick man, you can do pyrography.
So basically, you just need to have the right equipment, have basic skills in drawing, then you can just do pyrography. All right. So can you share with the audience where they can see your work?
You can find me on Instagram, and that's at Sonia Luhong, SONIA LUHONG.
All right, folks. So if you guys are interested in seeing more of her art or would like to get in contact with her, so make sure you guys follow her on Instagram. So I've seen you brought some art to the show. Can you showcase a little bit of your art?
Yes, so you can see here a lot of these, especially the big panels, they're actually part of a project that I did last year and part of a joint exhibition that I did with Said Rushdie, who is a film photographer.
Said Rushdie.
Yes, Said Rushdie. So the exhibition is called 56, and we did it in 2 cities, namely KL and Kuching. And it was done in conjunction of Malaysia Day. So what we did was Rushdie, with his film camera, went around and took photos of people on the streets and asked them about their experience being Malaysian. I, on the other hand, I took the same theme and concept, but with pyrography instead. And what I did was I asked, especially those from East Malaysia, what are their thoughts on being Malaysian, be it positive or negative? Yeah, and I told them to share their thoughts with me in 56 words, because in 2019, that's like how long Malaysia has been, for 56 years. And they're all expressed, as you can see, in their own respective ethnic languages. So I have 8 panels, and they represent, of course, the 8 letters of Malaysia.
Okay, so the way, as I can see right now, there's a couple of languages. So basically, all of these languages, they basically mean the same thing.
They're all their own individual thoughts, actually. So some of them are a bit more critical of Malaysia. Some of them are more positive and hopeful. So I personally cannot read and write in Tamil or Mandarin. So what I did was I got my friends to help me to script it out. But I would say that the challenging part would be to meet the deadline for the exhibition, because I only had, I think, a few days to complete all 8 panels.
All 8 panels.
Yes.
So how was the experience when you created this? Because it looks very time consuming.
Yes, it is. It took, I think, at least 2 hours for each panels. So I did not have enough sleep, but it's worth it really to just bring the message out.
2 hours each panel.
Roughly,
so you
yes.
did them continuously, or was there a lot of breaks in between?
Almost continuously, yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's really amazing. Now, can you tell me a little bit more about that leopard drawing that you have over there?
This is the Bornean colored leopard, and as the name can tells us, that it's actually a species of colored leopard that's very specific to Borneo. So it is a very critically endangered animal, actually, due to deforestation and all this. So its habitat is being threatened. So I like to bring out awareness about endangered animals, not just hornbills and orangutans, but also our rich fauna that is being endangered in Sarawak.
So for this drawing, do you actually created it based off a real leopard, or was it like based off a photo that you got of Google? Because it's very, very detailed.
Yes, so actually need to use reference photos for this. It's been a very interesting process because I myself learned more about this animal as I draw it.
All right, thank you so much, Sonia, for sharing your artwork, especially this leopard. Because as you draw, you create awareness about the endangered species. So, okay, if you guys want to know more or see more of her work, make sure you guys follow her on Instagram, or maybe you guys can get in contact with her if you guys would like to be able to purchase her art. So that's all for today, folks, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thank you for tuning in.